All right, so we are in May 16, 2020, Saturday, 10 p.m. already. Wow, it's already night. I have 10 news items today that I'd like to talk about, and we start off with number 10. Flipboard. This is a news that it's available in New York Times, but this is really top stories. J.C. Penney filing for bankruptcy. This JCPenney is aligned, or when you think of JCPenney, you think about budget friendly clothing and all that. So of course the retail industry is hard hit. Yesterday we saw the report of uh, the biggest drought in the retail stores for in the US, and JCPenney fighting for bankruptcy, starting in Wyoming, humble dry goods store in Wyoming in 1902 for 118 years, becoming a symbol, a household name for cheap quality goods, especially for people who don't have a lot of money. Now being hit because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and now filing for bankruptcy. Wow, that's not all, because we have a similar story in today's news, but let me get to that. Number two, number two is the warning of the Feds about the significant hit on asset prices if crisis grows. So this is not only going to hit us in the income area, but also in the price of your asset. Because if you want to sell out, then who are you going to sell your asset to? Who's going to buy? So since everybody is hit, the asset prices will definitely go down if the crisis continues. So this is the warning by Feds, and it's starting to get clear that everybody is really greatly affected. And also similarly, the House of in the Congress in the U.S. Passes $3 trillion Corona relief bill, but this is just in the nick of time and barely passing it. Look at the votes, 208 to 199. It's really hard to vote on these kind of things. First, you know that you need it, but $3 trillion. If you look at that, the enormous amount, and you know that your country doesn't have it, and you're gonna end up further in debt, and you don't see any hope in the horizon. It's just a temporary thing. It's a bill that you need today, right here, right now. But looking at the intermediate term and the long term, you're talking to yourself and saying, "My God, I think we're screwed over here." So that's really what's happening here. So number three, over at Inquirer, we have stories about Marikina lifting the liquor ban. Wow. And the tricycles to return on Pasig City Road starting May 18th. So you can see that already heavy traffic is already in the horizon. So this is just MECQ, guys. I mean, don't get excited here. In fact, there's even a, a a trending photo or something that's being distributed in social media, and when they opened SM in North EDSA, it, if you look at the picture, it doesn't seem like we are at MECQ. It's just full of many people inside, and that's gonna hurt us, because some countries are already recalling other citizens, let's get back. Let's go back to ECQ, to community quarantine. That's gonna be bad, man. So as we said in over at GMA, we talk about the heavy traffic. Let's start with number four news, which is the heavy traffic observed in Metro Manila, Luzon as MECQ starts because of what we said. Many of our Filipino compatriots, our kababayan, our countrymen, are behaving as if there's no virus anymore. I mean that we are already opening up the economy. Remember, we're letting everybody, go back to at least a new normal, not because we want to free you from the quarantine, but because you want to spur spur the economy, in order to drive the economy upwards, so just that there's a bit of movement in the economy, because if not, we're going to die in of hunger, not of the virus. But don't push it, because if it's going to be pushed, then we're going to go back to where we started, and all the months that we've been staying at home will be put to nothing. So similarly, EDSA Balintawak going NLEX gridlocked on first day of MECQ. Wow. So you see that there's it seems as if everybody's back to normal. All right. Another news in over at GMA is the number of cases. Number four. The number of cases. 12,305 with 214 new infections. Still, 214 is a bit over the limit. We have to lower it down to 190 a day. Although now we are past 12,000, clearly beyond 12,000, as we go March to almost 13,000. So by the next week, which is starting 2 days ago, surely the the level 13,000 is not anymore so far away. So 240 new infections, we have to curb that down and make it lower. Okay. Number five, from Inquirer.net, we have the trail of destruction by Ambo. Although it's now finally accelerating out of our country, signal number one is still up in five North Luzon provinces. Accelerates, moving northeast. Four areas remain under signal number two, slightly weakened, now over waters of Santa Cruz in Ilocos Norte. So it's now over North Luzon. So it's exiting anytime soon. But the rains are here because it's the tail end of the storm. But somewhat of a good news here, because we saw that according to some other authorities, rains dumped by Ambo raised the Angat level, the Angat Dam level. Um, so it was raised by 3 meters from 187 to 190, which we need really. Um, it used to be a problem before, especially because there's always a storm, but it's always it does not pass the path that could raise the Angat level, Angat Dam level. Okay, number six, we have Italy government decreeing the ease of travel restrictions. The Italian government easing travel restriction imposed due to the coronavirus pandemic, allowing people to move freely inside the region where they live as of Monday, May 18, and between regions starting June 3. But in fairness to the Italian government, this has been their plan. The plan was already laid down, I think, almost a month or almost 2 months ago, because one of my former students lived there, and she shared to me the plan of the government, and this is part of that, the movement and they have an intermediate plan and a long-term plan. So I think they're following that to the letter. So this is not really something that's surprising, but of course it's surprising to the rest of the world because they would think, why are you restrict? Why are your restrictions already easing now? We don't know what's going to happen. There's still a lot of people. That's at risk at your place. 31,000 people have died there, leaving Italy with the highest death toll after the US and Britain. But the government Premier Giuseppe Conte has gradually reopened the country. The rates of infections and deaths have fallen. The daily increase has started to fall. Now, for number seven, I'd like to focus on the Wall Street Journal news. When it's time to go back to the office, will it still be there? So the question here says, as companies prepare for employees to return, they're asking whether a traditional headquarters is still necessary. The workplace will likely never be the same again. I think one of the talks now is that work from home will be a part of the new normal. And of course, especially if you're renting an office space in a very expensive, place like New York, answering these kind of questions really, it matters because do you really need to be in the office and maintaining office space? So these are the questions are being raised now because of the at least the pending new normal, so to speak, because we are already preparing to go back to work. Over at the New York Times, we have the story. This is a moving story of Sylvia Goldshaw lived through the Spanish flu and just beat COVID-19. She was already, I think, featured about a week or about a month ago or something. So last month, the relatives of Sylvia Goldshaw received troubling news from her New Jersey nursing home. She had contracted the coronavirus and was in isolation. Of course, the most troubling part of that is that she turned 108 in December. Okay, so this is killing people in nursing homes. uh they all thought that it's going to be the end. I mean, she's 108, for God's sake. I mean, she went through Spanish flu, World War I, World War II, right? The depression, the Great Depression, and all those wars in between, World War II again, and then the Korean War, Vietnam War. So yeah, so but then she finally recovered. She's fully recovered. She has become the oldest COVID-19 survivor in the world. So it's a rare bright spot in New Jersey. Whose current death toll from the virus is 9,946 through Thursday, second only to the New York State. So that's really something, right? So one nephew said, Larry Goldshaw said, she's Forrest Gump. I survived everything, she said, because I was determined to survive. Uh, so that's a bit of a good news, right? I mean, imagine 108 years old surviving all through the difficult times of the world and now surviving COVID-19. There's hope, guys. There's hope. Okay, the number nine news, 9 to the 10th, is about the Saudi wealth fund. This is a little bit troubling because if you if you know about the Saudi sovereign wealth fund, this is a huge fund, all right? So the sovereign wealth fund is now planning to borrow about $10 billion, and it's now pledging some of its stakes in SoftBank Group technology investment vehicle. So because they need this for because of what happened. So, so come to think of it, here is also stated Qatar sovereign wealth fund also want to raise 7 billion euros, or $7.6 billion. So it's following the same path. Everybody is being plunged to more debt. Wow, and these are not cheap companies. These are not small companies that are having, difficulty. These are huge companies. These are the leaders of the world. And going through all these rough times, and you see in the beginning we have Penny even folding after 100 something years. This is going to hurt us. I mean, you see, this is the new normal kind of thinking. I mean, especially if you look at small companies that can still thrive. Is it because they need so little in order to survive? Because if you have a high revenue, of course your operating expense is also high. So if your revenue does not come in, you still have to pay your people, still have to pay the rent sometimes, especially if you're renting in New York or any of those expensive places in the US. You're still paying for the light, for the electricity, for it to be turned on, right? You're paying for gas, you're paying for the connection, internet. I don't, maybe in other countries there's nothing like that, but here we're still paying for that. So imagine, we're still paying for the phone bill. So um, if you are a huge company with a huge revenue stream before, but you you need to have a big operating expense or operating base in order to produce the huge revenue, then you're gonna be in trouble, and that's what's happening now worldwide. Whereas compared that to a small company, maybe just a small, revenue, but then they only need so small in order to produce that. So if the revenue is removed, then you can still finance the company or fund the company because the amount you need in order to keep the lights on is not going to be very high or expensive, or. So that's going to play out in our mind, especially in the new strategy going to the new normal, right? Lastly, we have the Twitter trending top Twitter trending Philippine topics, right? Let's refresh that because it's been up there. So, okay, so for 1 hour now, report the trolls. 18,000 tweets an hour ago. Now it's 37,000 tweets. Is now number one trending topic in Twitter, I guess. They are now trying uh, to combat the so-called trolls because of the trending topic Sakhang si Catherine. I think this is they're saying that why would you go so low in attacking a person, that's body shaming and all that. And you will notice that the Sakhang si Catherine has been trending for quite some time, and there are many people tweeting it. I don't know. It's currently trending at number three. All right, so my take here is that a lot of people are spending so much time on this. 6,905 tweets. I mean, why would you spend so much effort in trying to put down, uh, well, each other? Because of course, the people are supporting ABS-CBN or these people, I don't know who they are. Of course, they will point to the other side and said, "Oh, these are the DDS, the DDS fanatics." But then the people who maybe are DDS, maybe a silent majority who voted for Duterte, maybe they'll say, why would I care about these people? I'm not I'm not one of those people who did that. Maybe they are trolls, and most of them, most probably they are, and that's why report the trolls is now trending, number one. But imagine 37,000 people. They have nothing to do. Maybe they don't think about the future. They don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months, couple of years. Big companies are closing in other countries, and here we are. Our trending topics is about show business, Dilawan versus DDS, and K-pop news and all that. Team Sarah, wow. I don't know. I mean, maybe we don't need to work. I mean, a lot of people in the Philippines don't really need to work, and you can't blame them because they're being supported by the government. They're being given, whatever, ayuda help, and some people are even fighting just to get that. For me, that's not a good thing to do. Maybe you can try to help those who are really in need, but people sometimes are using that in order to stay jobless, unemployed. I mean, after all this, do you think they will still work, or they will still look for work? Maybe they will go out for a while and then uh, uh, look for a couple of jobs, walk here, walk there. There's no opening, then go back to their homes and then complain to the government again. Our companies close. Come on, it's not enough. Please give us some more. So these are the things that are trending in the Philippines. Sakang si Catherine, report the trolls. Team Sarah, Luo Yi, Jonah XXHMC Wakas. Wow, this Jama Julie. Oh my god, what the hell? I mean, of course, we live in, focusing on the things that matter to us, and maybe these things matter to most people. And, rest my case. A lot of people are not the thinking type, and it's really a waste of time trying to understand them. Maybe someday, in the near future, somebody will, or, the nerds will finally team up together and put up the new trending topic in Twitter. It says, the thinking Filipino or whatever, something like that, the intelligent Filipino, something like that, and stop all these nonsense. Yeah, that's it. So those are the 10 news items that we covered today. Number one, the JC Penny filing for bankruptcy. That's a sad news. Number two, the Fed warning asset prices will get hit. And then the House passing $3 trillion to save the economy of the U.S. Number three is about the new cases of COVID-19. We have 12,305 cases now. Number four is about the opening, the MECQ, heavy traffic in Manila and EDSA, the opening at SM North EDSA, so many people there. Tricycles are going to go back, their Pasada, in Pasig. Marikina lifted the liquor ban. That's number four. Fifth news is about the Italy government easing travel restrictions. Number six news is about um, the trail of destruction by Ambo. But there's a bit of a good news because of the water level in the Angat Dam. Number seven news is about the article in Wall Street Journal that says when it's time to go back, will there be an office to go back to, or do we need this office? Number eight news is about the New Yorker who's a 108 years old Sylvia. Sylvia Goldschall, who defeated the Spanish flu, survived the World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, and now she survived coronavirus. She's immortal. She's Forrest Gump, said her nephew. And then the number nine is about the Saudi Wealth Fund, um, uh, uh, seeking to borrow about $10 billion. Finally, number 10 are the trending topics in Twitter, which I really don't like. I don't know why I keep on reporting this, but anyway. So that's it for today. I hope we remain alive. And today is a challenging day as usual, but hope still glimmer in the horizon. And there's always hope. Today is just another day. This too will pass. And here's to the fighting Filipino. Here's to the better Filipinos, the one sacrificing their lives for another, the ones who are volunteering, um, the health workers, the good military people, the good ones, and the people, the government really working for all of us, despite all the calumny and insults that sometimes they get. And here's to the resilient Filipino people. God bless our country. God bless the world.